Hey guys, this is V. Rigoni, Max, high performance real estate entrepreneur. So if you like the content, then smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the fact that when I do a video, okay, and I put out some information out there, it just amazes me how people then listen to it and what they hear, what they're actually hearing from what they're listening to. You would think that, where are they coming from? So that's what we're going to be talking about here, right? Is that when you're listening to something, what are you actually hearing? Relative, especially to what I've got to say. Remember what I always tell you. All right, think big, start now, and grow fast. So let's get this thing rolling. All right, so I recently did a video where I talked about the fact that when you're out there, that there's this whole concept around of making sure that if you're going to buy toys, you're going to buy boats, you're going to buy jet skis, right? You're going to buy, I don't care, motorcycles. I'm not talking about a motorcycle for transportation. I'm talking about a guy who wants to collect a couple, 3 different types of motorcycles, that kind of stuff. And if you're always into the toys, if you're always going on vacation, right, how are you paying for that? Right? Because if you talk to people, wealthy people, they will tell you that in most cases, they're paying for that from other sources of income. They're not paying for that from their ordinary income. If they have a job, if they still have a job and they still are producing ordinary income, where you're trading your time for money in order to do what? Buy junk? Now, when I say that, then all of a sudden I get a lot of this pushback that says, oh, well, what are you going to do? Wait until you die for you to have fun? You look like you're running out of time, so you better do something. All this, again, when I talk about comments, I don't care. They can be stupid because then at least it tells me that what's on some people's minds or the lack of what's on their mind. Because the reality is you talk to wealthy people, you interview wealthy people. Now, remember, a lot of people that will comment on what I have to say, they don't care to become wealthy. They don't care to become rich. They just want to go to work, do a 9 to 5, make enough money so that if they like the boat, they can buy a small boat. Okay, they can go out and they can boat on the weekends, whatever they want to do. And if that's just the life you want, oh, by the way, the only problem with that is if they lose their job, they're SOL. That's right. They are SOL. And now they're living off their 401k until they can find another job. And we're not going to talk about that, right? But that's the reality. So the wealthy people, what they will always do is that they will base the kind of spending of lifestyle spending. That's what we're really talking about here is lifestyle spending. That's what boating and all the other stuff comes under. It comes under lifestyle. Now, am I telling someone not to go out and buy a fishing boat, a small fishing boat that wants to go fishing? No. But if he's going to go out and spend $75,000 or $80,000 on a bass boat, and in order to pay for that, he's got to go to work 9 to 5. And if he gets laid off, then he's got to pull the money out of his 401k or his IRA or borrow money in order to make all the payments. That's an issue. That's a problem. So if your goal, when I'm talking about this kind of stuff, I'm talking about this to people who want to become wealthy, who want to become rich, who have something more on their mind than just, I'm going to sit and watch football all weekend, or I'm just going to, get in my boat on the weekends and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Like I always say, but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who want to become wealthy, who want to have something else going on in their life so they can get their financial freedom. So then they get to live the life they want to live, and nobody can tell them no. Nobody can tell them no by firing them, by laying them off. You become financially independent. And then therefore, then you get to live how you want to live. And you can buy the toys you want to buy. Now, yes, do you have to delay some gratification in order for that to happen? Absolutely. Because if you're spending every dollar on paying your credit card bills, on paying your car payment, on paying the mortgage, and all the insurances, and then you're putting as much money as you can in your 401k, then what is left in order to accomplish your goal of becoming wealthy, of becoming rich, of getting your financial freedom? But again, I'm only talking to people who want to gain their financial freedom. I get it that you get all kinds of people that will comment on what you got to say, but they're commenting it on from their perspective, from what their outlook on life is. And if they don't have the same outlook on life as I do, as you do, well, then their response is going to be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's where I'm coming from with this. Now, what is one of the ways you can help accomplish doing this? All right. How do you get to your financial freedom? All right. Now, you're not going to learn all that in a 1 minute short on YouTube. You're not going to, even that just blows my mind, makes me laugh. I'll get comments on like, oh, why didn't you give me more information? It's a 1 minute YouTube video. What the hell can you learn? That's why we do long format, so that we can dive into this information, so we can pull it apart a little bit. Now, do I have all the answers? No, not really. But when it comes to real estate, when it comes to investing in real estate, when it comes to investing in small businesses, I do have some pretty good experience that is based upon success. So you can choose to listen to it or not. That's on you. But if you're still listening, right, then how do you accomplish these things? Well, how do you get to that step? What do you got to do? All right, well, number one, and we're just going to cover one of these aspects in this video, is this is a really important one. You got to understand not to allow your life to do what is called a lifestyle creep. Small incremental increases in your lifestyle because you get pay raises, small incremental pay raises, and then you keep raising your lifestyle, and then they keep sending you more credit cards in the mail, and they say, congratulations. You now have the ability to have your financial freedom. I actually got one in the mail that said something like that. And I'm like, are these people out of their minds? You're financially free now to go spend what you want, except you got to pay it back. Okay? So one of the very, very first things you have to do, especially if you're younger in life right now. Now, I get it. If you got a family, there are certain, everybody's going to have their fixed expenses. If you're single and you're living at home, you're still going to have some expenses. You might have to pay some rent. You might have to pay your car payment. You have some insurance to pay, right? Right? You got things you got to do. If you're married, those fixed expenses are going to be greater. Right? And so you have to cope with your fixed expenses. Then you have to understand that there will be some variable type expenses. You don't know what happens. You get sick and all that kind of stuff. And some of these expenses come from just the fact you get sick and you can't go to work for a while. It ends up being like it's a reduction of income, but in some respects, it's also an expense, right? Right? Because you weren't, it's a cost. Now, how do you get around the lifestyle creep? Well, you got to be careful about who are your friends. Because if they're all participating in the lifestyle creep also, if they're also starting to just grow their lifestyle as they get every paycheck, because a lot of people will do, and this is why they end up in trouble. So let's say they're making, I don't know, maybe they're making $60,000 a year and they need to get a pay raise and they're now going to make $68,000. So what do they do with that money? Well, first of all, it's not a whole $8,000, right? You got to pay the taxes on it. And there's the FICA and all that kind of stuff, right? So out of that $8,000, maybe you're going to end up with $6,000. Right? And so what do they do with that money? Well, they improve the way in which they live. Maybe it's time to go get a new apartment. Right? So they're going to spend more money on an apartment. Or maybe they just think, hey, this allowed me to go get that car I always wanted. Or maybe we can just use that $6,000 and go buy a boat. And we're not going to pay cash for the boat, but it'll cover the payments. Now, I know someone's going to send me a comment and say, how can you buy a boat on $6,000 a year in payments? It's an example. So you have to understand, if you're going to get pay increases, if you want to become wealthy, okay, if you want to become financially free, then you have to do things a little bit different than all of your friends and family are doing. Unless they're all financially free, unless they're all rich. If they're all rich, they're all financially free, then what the hell you listen to me for? Just do what they're doing. That's really the bottom line. But if you want to become financially free, then listen to what I got to say. Do not increase your lifestyle just because you get a pay increase. Now, if you're homeless and you get a job, yeah, go get an apartment. But the bottom line is that as much of that additional income that you can temporarily save, put together as a nest egg, it's going to give you then the ability to go buy that first duplex, that first multifamily, that first small business. Are you going to do all that in 1 year? No, not necessarily. Maybe you got to put some money together for a couple of years. Now, remember what I always tell you, that that money should be the least important thing to becoming financially free. And you might say, how is that possible? Because it's in your mindset. When I get these stupid comments, what I had one time, one guy said, "Oh yeah, so I'm going to stop by the house mart and buy me 2 houses on the way home." Well, that's a stupid comment. Maybe if you thought a little bit bigger, maybe the day could come where that could actually happen. What I want you to do is start to think differently. Start to think big. That's what our slogan is that think big. It's all about how you think. The money is secondary. Why? Because the money doesn't have to be your money. But if you're thinking big enough, if you're able to communicate your thoughts, well, then you can go out and get partners. You can go out and get investors. But they got to know that you have the right mindset and you've gained the right information and regarding that which you're going to do, regarding that which you're proposing for them to invest with you. That's really the bottom line. See, everybody thinks, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. I'll never have the money. Oh my God. Well, just get in bed and put the pillow over your head and try to go to sleep, because that's really the bottom line. All right. But if you want to do something, then quit letting all the things get in your way. That's why we also talk about activity. All right. But in the very beginning, you got to work on your mind. You got to work on your brain. That's what's stopping everybody. All right. And so you get your head in the right place. Get over the concept of fear. Get over the concept of you can't do it. Get over the concept that no one believes in you. That's all bullshit. Believe in yourself. Okay? Believe in yourself. If you can believe in yourself, you can accomplish just about anything. You've seen these people. Hey, there's a local restaurateur here in the area in Lake County. This guy runs successful restaurants. He's climbed Mount Everest. He has swam the English Channel. And he just recently sailed around the entire globe in a small sailboat by himself. Now, you and I might say, that's some freaking crazy shit. Well, I'm not doing that. But it was his mindset. And before he did any of these things, he also ran an extraordinarily successful series of restaurants. That was all based upon mindset. And so if you can have the right mindset and you don't allow and you don't allow others to get into your head in the wrong way, you can just about accomplish most anything. I get it. You can't become a brain surgeon. I can't become a brain surgeon. We're not going to be astronauts. We're not going to be president of the United States. So when I say you can accomplish anything, I mean anything within the reasonable realm of what we're talking about, and that's financial freedom. That's success. Because when you have that financial freedom and you can buy your time back because you have the right mindset, then you get to do whatever you want to do. And with financial freedom is the ability to buy some of these toys. Buy the sports car if you want. Buy the boat. I don't even say you got to pay cash for it. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I don't want to pay cash for something that's going to depreciate. I'd rather pay that off in time myself and pay it with inflated dollars. It's cheaper to pay it back with inflated dollars. So how you want to do it, but if you want to pay cash, go pay cash. But you're not going to be paying cash from your 9 to 5. You're not going to be paying cash after you lose your 9 to 5 out of your 401k and your retirement savings. You're not going to do that. So remember, you've got to do basically 2 things to begin with. One is don't allow yourself to have this lifestyle creep going on in your life where you make a little bit more money, so you spend all of it. And what most people do, they'll even spend more than that because that little bit more money also gives them the ability to borrow more money. Not to buy real estate, not to buy a business, but to buy junk, to buy stuff. And I get it, we're all going to die. But is that how you want to live your life based upon the fact you're going to spend every dollar, every dime, all right, for instant gratification, and so that you and then never have any sense of financial security, never be able to buy your time back? Not me. So be careful that lifestyle creep that takes place in everyone's life, okay, in most people's lives. Now you say to me, yeah, but what about rich people? They buy all this stuff. But once again, they buy it once they get there, and they're buying it with passive income, with managed income, not with ordinary income, in which they're slaving away on a daily basis so that it's the money coming in to pay the bills. And one of those bills is the boat payment, is the snowmobile payment, it's the ATV payment, it's the sports car payment. Those are what I'm talking about. So I hope you can really get that, right? And then the secondary thing goes along right with it is your mindset. Because you're never going to do anything unless you get your head in the right place. So when I get these comments, these comments where people are just like, oh yeah, well, you're just going to, you're getting old and you'll never be able to do any of this stuff. I do it. They didn't ask me if I do it. I do it. Right? We control a golf course. I want to go play golf. It doesn't cost me anything to go play golf. We have a boat on the lake. We own a marina. I don't have to pay for the boat slip. The boat was negligible. Right? It's even a write-off because we own a marina. Right? You just got to position yourself so that when you are increasing your lifestyle, you get to increase it based upon the fact that it's actually even a good financial decision. So think about what I've got to say here. Think about, again, if you're just, if you're just down the rabbit hole hitting, different videos, this one's not for you. I'm not talking to the person who doesn't, want to get wealthy. I'm not talking to the person that doesn't want to become financially free. Don't waste your time. Go to work. Don't, go to your job. Right? Get on your boat. Make that payment. But then better make sure you don't lose your job. Otherwise, that boat is SOL. And so are you. Guys, let's get out there. Let's think about this, right? Financial freedom, letting passive income, managed income, buy the toys that you get to enjoy your life with. Right? Yes, are you going to have to put some of these things off for a short period of time? Absolutely. But then you'll have the rest of your life to enjoy this stuff and not have to worry about what happens to your job, not have to worry about payments. Let's get out there, guys. All right? Think big, start now, and grow fast. V. Rigoni, Max, high performance real estate entrepreneur.